Good evening, everyone, and you are looking at live pictures right now at Trump Tower on 5th Avenue and 56th Street. There's a guy scaling the building using suction cups. He started about a couple of hours ago. He's made it to roughly the 20th floor. The building itself, 58 floors, police trying to stop him, but so far he has successfully evaded them. Reports are saying his goal to get Trump's attention, even though Trump is not in the building. I think it's safe to say he probably succeeded. I don't know what he'll get for his efforts, but we will continue to keep you posted. Thanks again for joining us, everyone. I'm Richard French, and welcome to RFL. We're going to talk about a lot of legal issues tonight here, but first, we'll pivot to the race for the White House. And with just 86 days left until voters go to the polls, Donald Trump, he's dealing with perhaps his most serious gaffe yet, as well as some daunting poll numbers. Let's look at those polls. And these latest poll averages, or poll of polls, if you will, has Trump still trailing Hillary Clinton by about 8 points. Now, while the forecasters at 538 give Hillary a 75% chance of winning the election, she's been an 85% favorite if the election were in fact held today. Now, Trump's bad news, it continues on the individual state level as well. Take a look at these key swing states. He's trailing by 4 points in Iowa, 5 in critical Ohio. And Trump, he's down 11 points in perhaps his biggest must-win state, that Pennsylvania. But there is not a lot of talk today about polls or, frankly, about policies or anything else but the following clip I'm about to show you, where Donald Trump yesterday spoke about the Second Amendment folks and Hillary Clinton. Take a listen.
And by the way, and if she gets to pick her judges, nothing you can do, folks. Although the Second Amendment people, maybe there is, I don't know. But
so with that, last night, Trump and his surrogates tried to defend and deflect in any way they could.
We know Donald Trump is not particularly indirect. If Donald Trump was going to say something like that, he'd say something like that.
there can be no other interpretation. I mean, give me a break.
As for the Clinton team, they hammered Trump for his comments, and first came the vice presidential nominee.
It just revealed a sort of a complete temperamental misfit with the character that's required to do the job.
Then you had Connecticut Governor Dan Malloy, who knows a thing or two about the impact of gun violence given Sandy Hook. He had his piece to say as well.
This is insanity. It's a sickness. It's an evil. And Republicans and Democrats and independents have to stand up to this. We have to reject this. Otherwise, this insanity will play itself out in our own country and over our existence. We've had enough assassinations.
But let's leave the politicos out of this. And the final word on the subject, it goes to the U.S. Secret Service, who, in response to the words of the Republican nominee for president, think about that, the nominee for president said something like he said yesterday. Well, they tweeted out the following, quote, "The Secret Service is aware of the comments made earlier this afternoon, and in fact, they have also spoken directly to the Trump campaign about those comments." And with that, let's bring in very good friend to the program, Chris Shays, former Republican congressman from Connecticut, who's been making all kinds of headlines today. Congressman, as always, thank you for the time.
It's nice to be with you. It's like old times when I was in Congress. I'd be in a special little boxed room talking to you.
We're trying to keep you in small, confined places. Hey, listen, before I get into the piece you wrote and all the reaction that's come attached to it, what was your reaction to what Trump said yesterday? We've given a sampling. It's interesting. Some of the people most upset about it, whether it be Gabby Giffords, Bernice King, the doctor of the late Dr. Martin Luther King, Sandy Hook parents, people who have seen gun violence rip their families apart, they've been the most vocal. They found it the most troubling. How about yourself?
Well, it was typical Trump, saying something that was really not just inappropriate, but almost dangerous. And you know, however he meant it, if he meant it as a joke, if he meant it as an afterthought, you know, I have great fear, candidly, that some lone wolf will do something, try something with our president, with Hillary Clinton or with Donald Trump. I mean, it's just, you don't want to go there.
For folks who did not see it, you penned a piece, Chris Shays, Why I'm Voting for Hillary Clinton. And you are a lifelong Republican. 34 years you've served, whether it be at the state or at the federal level. You've always voted Republican. Why this year? Why is it different? What was the tipping point for you why Donald Trump was a bridge you just couldn't cross?
Well, first off, let me say my candidate was John Kasich. He was my first choice, my second choice, my third choice. But after that, it really turned out to be Hillary Clinton. And I knew a long time ago and said it that there was no way that I could be supporting Donald Trump. I mean, he crossed that bridge a long time ago. He went into darkness and hate, racism to some measure. So I knew I wasn't going to vote for him. And so what I decided to do was to listen to the conventions, pay close attention to what was being said. I felt what Christie did was almost like a lynching mob, guilty, and then they yelled, lock her up, lock her up. I didn't have a good feeling about my own party and our convention, which I wasn't attending but watching. And then I watched the Democratic convention, and it was upbeat. It was looking forward. And Hillary Clinton kind of reminded me why I liked working with her when I was in the House and she was in the Senate. She wants to work with Republicans and Democrats and those who aren't affiliated with either party. She wants government to work. And so I just decided, I needed to go that further step and support her for what I think is the good of the country and, frankly, the world.
You've obviously seen the 50 national security experts, Republicans, who have condemned Trump and said they will not vote for him. They haven't gone as far as yourself and Congressman Hanna and other Republicans who said they will vote for Hillary, but nonetheless, they couldn't vote for Trump. You're obviously still very connected to a lot of Republicans on the Hill, people who are running for re-election, albeit, and some who are there who aren't up in November. Do you sense that a lot of folks are going to follow your lead, even if they don't go so far as to say they'll vote for Hillary, that they just will not be able to endorse, let alone vote for Trump?
Well, it's going to be more and more difficult for them to not make a decision like that because Donald Trump isn't going to change. I mean, if he keeps reading something from a teleprompter and doesn't say anything else, they might be able to rein him in a bit. But we know what's in his thought, and we know what could slip out at any moment. I unfortunately supported Sarah Palin when it was announced by the senator that she was his choice. I really loved her convention speech. I thought it was kind of fun and a little in your face, but kind of fun. But after that, it was one bad move after another, and then I realized that she had never really been vetted, but I was stuck with it. And so let me say to my fellow Republicans, I really feel for you because I know what you're going through. It's going to get worse, not better. And you're going to have to make a decision one way or the other. And half your constituents will want him and half won't on your own party. And that's going to be very, very difficult for them.
Finally, Chris, do you see this as just, tempers are hot, it's a once-in-a-lifetime kind of candidate as Trump, or is the grand old party going to have to reassess going forward that maybe it's not one party anymore, that it's going to be different or unrecognizable from the one that you spent, more than 3 decades in? Where does the Republican Party go from here, regardless of what happens in November?
Well, if you remember Lee Atwater, when George Bush Sr. won, he was viewed as kind of in your face, and he did the Willie Horton ad. And I got elected shortly after President Bush got elected in the special election. And Lee Atwater said to me, we're going in the wrong direction. We need to reach out to Latinos. We need to reach out to African Americans. And he realized it. And he said, he really predicted what's happening. And so he wanted to change it, but he died of cancer. And we've never seen that change. We've been all talk for well over 20 years, almost 30 years. And it's really sad. I can't tell you what's going to happen to this party, but I do know this. The talk show hosts, the Hannitys, the Rushes, the Ann Coulters of the world, have shaped our party in a way that's become very ugly.
Well, I appreciated the guts you took today because it was a principled stand here. You're not up for election, I'll acknowledge, but still, it took some guts doing it. And as always, my friend, I appreciate a few minutes, and I'll be talking to you soon.
Well, let me tell you, it didn't take any guts. It's the right thing to do, so I feel good about it. But I really feel for my colleagues who are up for re-election.
Good enough. Chris, thanks again.
Take care.
Coming up next, everybody, our legal panel is going to weigh in. And they're going to look at the legal implications of not just Trump's Second Amendment comments, but also the lawsuit against Hillary Clinton over the 4 Americans killed in Benghazi. Stay with us, everyone. We'll be right back.